Hi, Anna. I'm so excited to meet you, founder and CEO of Matriark Foods. Welcome to Food Service Women's Alliance Women's History Month as one of our key women speakers and someone that we'd like to get to know a little bit better. Welcome aboard. Thanks for taking some time out of your day. First of all, why don't you tell me a little bit either about yourself or about Matriarch that you'd like to set the stage, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, I guess, since you're talking about Women's History Month, we named our company Matriarch for a reason.
I got that.
So every month is women's motivation and accomplishment month here. But yeah, I guess I had a pretty unusual career for getting to a food business, but most recently, I built a healthy eating program for youth and families living in public housing in New York City. And part of that entailed brokering relationships with farmers in Columbia County to donate their produce into our classes. If you don't know, or your audience doesn't know, public housing in New York City is the largest public housing in the United States. Almost 500,000 people live there, and many suffering from diet-related illness, and very hard to get healthy food in those neighborhoods. And so, we're trying to teach kids and families how to cook healthy food on a budget, and then getting farmers to donate their produce. And just farmers need income. So, as much as I admire philanthropy and know that we rely on it heavily for food in this country, it's still farmers need income to survive, and we need to support them. And then simultaneously, all the data was coming out on the negative impact that wasted food has on the environment. So I just saw a way to solve three issues simultaneously. And about the time I started thinking about it, I was invited to go to India with one of my advisors, actually, someone who I've known for a number of years before launching the company. And he had built a very big food business himself and was is on faculty at NYU. And he takes a group of students every year to India to do a sort of social enterprise project. And he said, "Why don't you come? I'd love for you to see this place we're thinking about working with." Anyway, we visited this organization called Akshaya Patra, which is the largest feeding program for state-run schools in India. And it was started, by a guy in a temple in a neighborhood, just giving people food. And ultimately now it's a state-run program that provides food for children so they can stay in school. And I saw this amazing facility and the way it was run and how effective the program was. And I just thought, if this can happen here, we should be able to do something like this in the US. So,
You think your advisor knew that when he invited you to go to India?
well, he knew that I was thinking about it, and I mean, maybe he was a little, it was a little tricky for him, on
Sounds
his
like he was smart to me.
but he also, I mean, we had many conversations about my background in nonprofit work, which really I spent most of my career as a nonprofit executive. And when you run a nonprofit, it's very similar actually to running a startup. You have very little money, you have to be lean, you have to know where everything goes, you have to have really clear goals to make it successful. And you have to really, be open to working with a lot of different people and bringing people along into kind of creating, your program or your idea. And that is so similar to having a startup. So even though people think, oh, you have such an unusual background, like in a way, the nonprofit world is very good training for
Yeah.
innovation and startups. And a lot of people go the other direction, from the corporate world to running nonprofits. And I actually still have not met anyone else who's gone this
The other
direction.
way.
But if any of you are out there, do it. Everything you do well in the nonprofit world will translate.
I love that. I love that. What's one of the biggest challenges of so you had this nonprofit thing and then you had this vision, like what were the biggest challenges to getting it started or taking it from kind of a thought process or a dream into reality? How did you make those steps?
You know, I I don't really, I mean, everything's hard, right? When you're doing it for the first time. But I think it's more, one's willingness to just keep at it, keep going, look, encounter something difficult and figure out a solution. So it's actually always like working on a puzzle of some kind. So I can't say there was any one thing that was especially hard. I feel like as a business, we've encountered so many challenges, from bringing our first product to market in the fall of 2019 and selling a whole pallet to, a big food service company, and then suddenly COVID hit and food service shut down globally. But then we worked with that same company to do something during COVID to help, frontline workers. That kept us going. It also helped us build those relationships. And then, COVID ends and there is a kind of retreat financially across the world because of COVID. So people are being much more careful. So we had to sort of figure out how to work around, people's kind of budgets and caution, but still a bigger awareness around food waste. So, simultaneous to the challenges, there was also, because of COVID in a way, so many people saw how much food was being wasted and the challenges of our food systems. So even though it was hard, we didn't really have to explain why we were doing what we were doing. So, maybe it's an attitude thing, or maybe it's just the time we're living in. But I think, every challenge also has a solution, and that's what keeps it really interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What's been one of the biggest like surprises or really positive good things like you didn't see coming out of this that was just makes you smile in a day and think we did that, right?
I mean, kind of all of it, it's sort of almost, I feel like against all odds, we have built this company. Um, People love our products. We have now four channels of business. We make ingredients, we have retail products, we have products in food service, and then we also have a line which is sort of, very dear to my heart. We make products for emergency food and food banks. And it's not a donation model, it's a business model for that supports farmers and creates shelf-stable meals for people experiencing food insecurity. Um, and I think that just always the enthusiasm for what we're doing is just, people love the name of our company. They want to do something in the world, and we're a path toward that, I think. And just bringing people along. I mean, we work across so many different arenas, from farmers to people who work in manufacturing. We work in many different states in the US, and not, with people who necessarily agree with each other's politics.
Mhm.
And yet, around food and change and making the world a better place, people do agree. And I feel like that has been a very positive thing and really is the thing that keeps us going.
What's the combination of paid employees and volunteer? Do you have a volunteer network attached to it as well?
We we don't have, I maybe because I work so long in the nonprofit world, and I just feel like everyone should be paid for what they
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
No matter who you are, if you're an intern or you're a farmer or you're a manufacturer. But there are five full-time people now on the team. We just hired an additional person for sales from the emergency food channel. We always have a paid intern, and that's been really wonderful too. We really have a strong value proposition around mentoring younger people into this field.
I
So
love it.
we have hired interns from NYU, from Hunter College, from Harvard University. This year we have I can't remember what they call it. It's like a working internship that Northeastern University has their students do. So it's a full semester, full time. Um, yeah, and we're doing a project with Feeding New York State. We have a grant from ReFed to do a survey of New York State farmers' surplus, and to design a couple of new products for the food banking network from that project. And we're working with students from Cornell on that. So we really have just this, great. I mean, we're a small core team, but our team is almost global. We're part of a program right now that's sponsored in the Netherlands by the EU.
Oh,
We're
wonderful.
the only US company that's in that. And it's really, again, sort of using what we have to make more food for people using our current resources. So everyone in the program also has an upcycling company.
I love that. It's so encouraging to hear, we always call it paving it forward at FWA, like all of us bringing those along. Would you say, did you have one particular mentor or your advisor? Were there many people that influenced you? We're just so big on mentorship and advocacy. And what does that mean to you, I guess, or what's been your experience with it?
I mean, mentorship is so important. And I love Julie Swift. I mean, I
Who doesn't love Julie
I have
Swift?
love for Julie Swift, because I
We
feel
all love Julie
you know,
here.
she really understands the importance of the network and the mentoring network. And, I'm of a generation where there weren't that many women who were in professional positions through my grade school, high school, college. And so, most of my mentors actually have been men. One person who used to be the head of the Getty Museum, John Walsh, mentored me when I was actually working at Yale University Art Gallery and really taught me how to like run meetings and organize fundraising things and make programs that were really effective and bring people along. Current, mentors in food businesses as well. But in college, I had a couple of female professors who were really amazing. I had one professor at the University of Michigan, Sharon Herbert, who had started out in medical school and then went to Greece in her summer before medical school and decided to become an archaeologist. And she really taught us about like looking carefully at things and also, it was such an important thing to hear someone who had gone in one direction to a profession and then really pivoted to something seemingly very different. And that was very inspiring to me. It's something I just, still think about. My mom, same thing, she was a school teacher, then she went back to school and to get a degree in architecture, then she worked on ADA compliant projects at the very beginning of the ADA. And, yeah, friends have been mentors. I mean, I feel like pretty much everyone you meet, you can learn something from.
If you're open to it, that's for
If you're
sure.
open to it, and and then we do pay it forward too, with the business, and we mentor a lot of young people. Most of our interns have been young women. um this year we have a male intern, so that'll be, very different team, but great too. I have three sons, so I'm no stranger to young men. um, but yeah.
I love it. Is there anything we could do or anything you want to share about your company, now that this little platform of women supporting each other, is there anything we could do of sharing your mission, talking about it, getting involved, purchasing products? How can we help you?
Absolutely. I mean, there are so many things. I mean, I think that, food service, which is where we started, because, our idea anyway at the time was you sell in, cases and pallets, not in individual units. But it's still very complex. I mean, there's distribution, there's contracting. We now have, we're in 9 distribution centers. We have contracts with Vizient and Foodbuy, and we work with the largest food service companies in the US, but it's still, little by little. So I guess if anyone is interested in learning more about our products, we're happy to send you samples. If you want to change over your menus to be, more vegetables, lower sodium, cleaner taste profile, support a women-owned business, do something for the environment. We check a lot of boxes, and we'd love to work with you. And also, we do find that women chefs are particularly
Yep.
creative and open to change,
Always.
transformation, and we'd love to have advisors, in the chef world, food service chef world, and people who, if they choose to use our products, could be, could represent the company in any kind of way. But yeah, I mean, we need to grow and we are growing, but we'd like to grow faster.
Awesome. Well, you got a new convert in me, I'll tell you that. I mean, I started digging in on, I just, like you said, the minute I saw Matriarch Foods, but absolutely loved it. And I would love to try to help and be a part of it. And I'm sure you will engage with some of the other members. Is there anything I haven't asked you today or anything you wanted to share, just as like a closing note on the
Yeah,
interview?
I mean, I think one of the
And
questions,
thank you again for your time, because
oh,
I think this is, I think
absolutely.
a lot of people are going to be really intrigued and really supportive of what you're doing. I think
Yeah,
we can get you
great. I
some more
mean,
fans.
great. We love a fan, an active fan. I think, one of the questions you asked that we haven't covered on was, what would you advise anyone else who was thinking of doing something like this? And, I guess I would say like go for it, you know.
Yeah,
And also that it's kind of like working out and being a professional athlete. Like you have to do it every day. You are failing all the time, but you still have to like back on the bike, get back on the skis, get back in the pool, whatever it is. And I think that that's the mentality of that is really exciting. And even though there's tons of risk in jumping into something completely different, there's so much reward. Billie Jean King has a great phrase that's on at the US Open on the wall that says pressure is a privilege. And I love that so much because it's true. I mean, I think it's very easy when you're doing something new and different to get frustrated and maybe even give up. But if you think about what you're doing as a privilege, then it just keeps you going, because it is, incredible to have the opportunity to work with amazing people and do something different and something that's good for the world. And um, yeah, I would just say go for it, go for it, go for it.
I love it. Well, I tell you, I'm so excited to add you to my network, and we will maintain contact for sure. Thank you so much for your time today in putting this together, and we can't wait to share your story come Women's History Month. So thank you again for your time.
Great. Well, it was a privilege and a pleasure. Thanks.